This fish should not have been caught. This exact fish right here is gonna go down in history forever in South Florida. My friend Laurel caught this breathtaking fish on a fishing charter yesterday out of Fort Lauderdale. And if after hearing that, you're not bugging out, it's because you probably don't fish in South Florida. We do not find these fish out here, period. It doesn't happen. I asked ChatGPT and it estimates that under 12 of these fish were caught in Florida, period, forever in all of human history. I've only heard of one other person ever catching one of these in all my years of working in the commercial seafood industry in Florida, and it wasn't even half this size. So according to the internet, not only is this insanely rare to find in Florida, but this is also the biggest one ever found in Florida, period. All right, we're gonna get this gorgeous fish cut up and cooked up for you guys. You can see this nice little ledge right underneath that pec fin. We're gonna follow that around. And you can feel right above the plate on the gill, right in front of it where it's soft, you've got all this meat up behind the head here. Laurel did an absolutely phenomenal job with her harpoon, hit right in the head, killer shot. After you make the cut behind the head, we have a bone that comes down right here that ends right behind those pelvic fins, right by the anal vent. So we're gonna go between the pelvic fin and the anal vent. You can feel where the bone is nice and hard, that's where we wanna go. Just like that. Look at the fat inside of that meat. Wow, that's gonna be good. Up next, we're gonna make a nice line all the way up to behind the head there. We wanna make a nice shallow cut to go on top of the spine of the fish. Make sure we don't cut through the spine to the other side. Now that you've got the spine exposed, you can rest your knife right on that backbone and slide up, just like that. Then we make a little cut right there, release that forehead meat. And these Opa have a big bone right here behind the forehead. We're gonna work our way around that just like that. You can see this bone that's sticking out right there. The rib bones on this fish go super high, so you gotta do a pretty high angle to go to the top of them. We already know Opa is absolutely delicious, but I'm so excited to eat one of the rarest fish that has ever been caught out of South Florida. I've eaten Opa a handful of times and it's an absolutely delicious fish, but I never would have imagined I'd get to eat one that was caught in Southeast Florida. And just like that, got our massive Opa cut up. Holy smokes, look at the fattiness in the belly and rib section of this fish. Absolutely gorgeous. Up next, we're gonna cut out one of the coolest parts of the entire fish, the abductor muscle. The abductor muscle is this dark meat that's inside of the Opa. It almost looks like tuna, and you can cook it like beef. It's absolutely phenomenal and totally unique to this fish. Now, when I say unique to this fish, other fish have abductor muscles also, but it does not have the color, taste, and texture of Opa. The abductor muscle is gonna be visible right underneath where this top rib is. We're going to cut underneath it, just like that. And now you can see the dark meat start to become visible. Look how fatty that meat right underneath the skin is. It's gonna be a firmer, tougher texture, but when you char the outside, it's gonna be nice and buttery, absolutely delicious. All right, we're gonna go underneath the meat of this skin and let the fat of the skin guide our knife as we pull up. And look how awesome that looks. Look at the fat on this skin. All right, now we're gonna dip the tip of our knife into that opening, and there's two parts of this muscle, the outer and the inner, and they're both a little different from each other. We're gonna show you both of them. Look how this muscle controls that fin. Forward, back, forward, back. I'm so glad I didn't listen when my parents told me not to play with my food. Wouldn't be where I am today if I took that advice. And look at that. That is the dark meat of the Opa. I know it looks a little intimidating, but this is absolutely delicious. All right, now we're gonna flip it and cut the other side. Whew, flipping this thing ain't easy. Ugh. Just like the other side, tons of meat behind the head. We don't wanna miss out on any of it. We've got a nice little starting point right there that we can follow that all the way down behind the head. We're gonna start right at the top of that dorsal fin, make a nice little opening and slide down. Then we're gonna come back around, and we're gonna go all the way. Now on the second side, it's easier to cut through the spine, so take your time. You know, next time you have an opa on your kitchen counter, you wanna make sure you don't waste any of that delicious meat. Right above this dorsal fin right here is all of this fat and cartilage, and you wanna get past that to the spine. Once the spine is visible, you can then rest your knife right on top of it and slide down. All right, now we're gonna release the forehead meat. This is really good stuff. And the forehead on this side isn't damaged by the harpoon. And again, we're gonna go right at that opening, and we're gonna come all the way down right by that anal vent. All right, we're gonna lift up on that meat, and we're gonna cut through those rib bones like that, and we're gonna ride right on top of them. Oh yeah, super satisfying. Right around the fin here, you've got nothing but cartilage. We're gonna go just right on top of that. All right, we're gonna stick our knife all the way through and cut out just like that. And that's gonna release our entire fillet. Oh. Look at the angle of these rib bones. This fish is such a fun fish to fillet. It's you know, a little more challenging than your average fish, which is a lot of fun. We've got good meat behind the head here still. We're not gonna let any of it go to waste. Once you hit that bone, you can cut down, and this whole piece should pop out just like that. That's like a tenderloin right there. Absolutely phenomenal meat, super lean and tender. All right, now we're gonna cut out the other abductor muscle, and we're gonna get the inner muscle out as well. We're gonna pick up this pectoral fin, and we're gonna make a nice circle all the way around just like that. And you can kind of use your fingers to get a nice starting point and start to pull back on that skin a little bit, just like this. Super satisfying. I'd say this is probably the most satisfying part of filleting the entire fish. It's like cutting a cheek out, but 1,000 times the size. Wow, look how beautiful that skin is. This would make an awesome wallet. Speaking of wallets, we're stoked that today's video is sponsored by a company that makes the wallet I have in my pocket. Groove Life makes gear built for working men like us, and today I want to show you something I've been using daily. My old wallet used to get soggy and nasty, and this won't get soggy and nasty. When it comes to things in my pocket, I'm super minimalistic because I don't like things jabbing me in the side of the leg. It's thin, sleek, and super comfortable to have in your pocket. You can hardly notice it's there, which is exactly what I want. Well, on one of our recent trips while we were traveling in the airport, I had someone scan my card and take my credit card information and go on a shopping spree. Ever since that happened, I've only been traveling with wallets that have RFID blocking technology inside of them, and that's what Groove Life is. RFID blockers make it so that way folks can't scan your card and steal your information. You can push from the bottom, all your cards slide right out. Pinch the bottom, makes an opening, and your cards slide right back in just like that. And they've got this tray inside of the wallet that holds some cash as well. So we're grateful that today's video is sponsored by Groove Life. One way you can support our channel is by hitting the link in the description and grabbing yourself a new wallet. Right behind the ribs, you can lay your knife down right on top of the bone, right there, and let that guide your knife just like that. Oh yeah. How's that for some ASMR? All right, just like that. There's the other side of our abductor muscle, and then we've got the inner muscle right here. So you've got really hard bone right here. We want to try to preserve as much of the meat as possible by outlining that bone with a flat knife. All right, we're gonna flip it over and we're gonna outline the other side. Same deal, we're gonna cut underneath that bone and outline it just like that. And we're gonna go underneath here, cut down, underneath here, cut down, meet those two spots in the middle. I'm gonna peel this silver skin off, and there it is right there. There we go. It does not look the prettiest, but man, oh man, is that cut right there absolutely delicious. And we're gonna pull the piece from the other side out from over here. And there's the other side right there. This line right here is a line connected to a dart. A dart is a spearhead that are on the end of a pole. They throw the pole, the dart goes into the fish, and it's connected to a line. That way they can secure these big fish. We're gonna dig that harpoon out for you. These fish, like swordfish, have soft mouths and you can easily lose your fish. So they hit it with a harpoon. That way they made sure that this fish was not going anywhere. And these are not cheap, so we're gonna make sure it goes right back to Laurel. Feels like there could be some cheek meat in here. Let's check it out. Kind of looks like the abductor muscle. Check that out. Look at that. Solid bone underneath there. This eyeball is absolutely insane. Let's see if we can harvest that out. See what that looks like. Look at that. That eye is the size of my hand. That is insane. Look at the size of that eyeball. All right, now we're gonna cut off these ribs. Look at the size of these rib bones. That is absolutely insane. We're gonna cook up a rack of Opa ribs. All right, we're gonna take the ribs off the other side. Moving this fish around is a workout. We're gonna come right at the base of those ribs where the pin bones were, and we're gonna start outlining those rib bones. And then we're gonna come right down at the front of the first rib and slide down just like that. And check that out. Opa ribs. We're gonna pull off this silver skin just like normal ribs, and then we're gonna grill those up and see how they are. And if you guys know me, you know we are not wasting any of this fish. This whole thing is gonna get steamed up, all the meat's gonna get picked off, and we're gonna absolutely use the rest of the fish. Laurel, my friend that caught this fish, wanted to keep the tail as a souvenir. So I guess she's gonna dry that up and mount it or something. You gotta keep the trophy of the biggest Opa ever caught in Florida, one of the only Opa ever caught in Florida. This fish really should not have been where it was. We have no clue why it was so far away from its home, but nonetheless, we're stoked that it was, so we get to play with it. All right. Time to get this bad boy portioned up. First thing we're gonna do is separate the high loin from the low loin, following the pin bone line all the way down. Go down to the skin, cut it all the way through. All right, we're gonna go on the other side of the pin bone line, go all the way down, just like that. We got rid of the pin bones. You see this line right here. This is 2 different cuts, and we're going to treat them as such. We treat this fish like a cow, where we want each different part of the fish that tastes different, that has a different texture, different fat content, treated differently. All right, same deal with the high loin. We've got 3 different sections here. You can see this line right here and this line right here. We've got the center cut high loin. That is going to be this part right here. I know I said that piece of meat behind the head was like a tenderloin, but this really is the tenderloin of the Opa. This is going to be your super lean part of the fish. This is going to be the part of the Opa that we treat like tuna akami. And we also cut it into portions like tuna. We're going to square off the front, and that's going to be trim. And then we're going to cut it into medallions like that. Look how gorgeous that looks. This is an extremely fatty Opa. Look at close down to the skin. The skin is almost like chutoro, which is medium fatty. Absolutely gorgeous fish. All right, we're going on to our next cut now. I know I called the first one center cut high loin. This is technically the center piece of the high loin. The high loin we section off into 3 different pieces. This is the center right here, and then this is the outside. And I absolutely love this meat behind the head. You can see how fatty it is. It does have harpoon damage there. That meat has been exposed to we don't know what, so we're gonna have to cut that out. This little fat and cartilage cap, it's where the dorsal fin was. We're gonna just cut that out. We're gonna take out a little bit of this silver skin. It's a little bit sinewy, a little extra chewy. That doesn't go to waste. This goes into trim. Now we've got that nice and trimmed. We're gonna turn that into nice 8-ounce portions, just like that. Trim pile for that. Opa are extremely rare in the Western Atlantic, including Southeast Florida. Now we've got this piece right here. Despite a thriving local deepwater swordfish fishery, though recreational and commercial boats routinely drop lines in the same depth zones where opas live, only a handful have ever been recorded in Florida waters. Next, we've got the low loin. This suggests a naturally low population density or a migratory pattern that bypasses the region entirely. See all the fat shining on that skin? Absolutely gorgeous. Look at that. Commercial longline fisheries off Hawaii, California, and New Zealand report the highest numbers, often bringing them up as bycatch while targeting species like tuna and swordfish. These vibrant disc-shaped fish thrive in the mesopelagic zone between 400 and 1,800 feet deep. Look at that. Their unique ability to warm their body through specialized gill system allows them to hunt effectively in these cold, dark layers. I am so stoked to try this fish. All right, we got an awesome variety of cuts off of that beautiful opa. We've got the ribs, cheeks, we've got a piece of a belly, and I cut it like a saku block. We've got the meat behind the head of the opa. Looks very tenderloin-like, super lean. It's got sinew lines here, but right here, there's none of those lines, so it's gonna be super tender. And then we've got a couple of nice center cut inner high loin. This is the piece that's gonna be the most similar to a tuna. First, we're just gonna clean this up a little bit, and you wanna pick up on that excess and shave that off, just like that. Up next, I'm gonna make you guys one of my favorite marinades. Take a nice heaping spoonful of gochujang. That is a fermented chili paste, and then we're gonna go in with some soy sauce, some oyster sauce. It's gonna add you a little bit of sweetness, some Florida honey, and a splash of rice vinegar. You wanna mix that up until the gochujang and the oyster sauce blend in with the soy sauce and rice vinegar. It'll make just a little bit of a pasty consistency and it'll work great for a marinade for these ribs. And then this sauce is absolutely great to pour over the top after it's done cooking as well. All right, well that's marinating. We're gonna season up our other cuts. Our opa inner high loin pieces that look like a tuna steak, we're just gonna hit them with sesame seeds and salt on both sides. Our belly saku block, we're just gonna do salt and bacon grease. This head meat right here, we're gonna roll it around in a little bit of this marinade as well. We're also gonna roll these cheeks around in this marinade. We got our grill heated up to 180. We're gonna slide these ribs on in, meat side up. All right, now we're gonna close up the grill and move on to the flat top. On the flat top, we're gonna be throwing our center cut high loin medallions, our belly, our cheeks, and the head meat. We're just gonna get a nice sear on all these things and leave them a little pink in the middle, except for the cheeks. We're gonna cook those all the way through. Oh yeah, that's looking good. Pumped up the heat a little bit right at the end to toast the outside of those ribs. Let's see how they look. Oh yeah, we like that. Woohoo, that is looking good. Let's take a look at how these look on the inside. Super juicy looking. Cheers. Whoa, that tastes like fatty, fishy pork. Absolutely delicious. The fatty edges on these ribs is so good. It's very rare that I eat something in the seafood world that I have trouble explaining what it tastes like. This is one of them. One of those, you gotta try it to know. Thanks for watching. Have a killer day.